This is a live Locked On West Virginia emergency episode. Big update on Jimmori Robinson, guys. Stick around.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host, and this is Locked On West Virginia, baby, where we're talking about the Mountaineers again on the football side again today. And with the guest, a little kiss, somebody that I'm definitely excited to have on the show, somebody that knows his stuff, man. He's been doing it big for years over on College Football Addiction. TJ Pittinger, man, welcome to the show, brother. Can't wait to talk a little Mountaineer football with you, brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. It's like the best. You know, my kids went to school 2 weeks ago. I was playing the It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year just to troll them a little bit because, outside of Christmas, like kids going back is great. But this truly is the best time of the year. Like college football tomorrow, a couple of Big 12 games, and then a few more games too. We get to see Dan Mullen. We get to see Hawaii and Stanford. But anyway, I could not be more excited to be here, to be talking about football. I do it all year anyway, but now that we actually have games, and obviously West Virginia plays in 8 days? It's exciting to be talking about ball again.
Man, is it ever? And you're already talking about West Virginia with Drake anyways, right? You guys cover West Virginia all the time.
Yeah.
So
the West Virginia fans are great. Like, I'm not saying this just because I'm on here trying. I don't care, right? Like I piss off on a fan basis to where it's like I'm not trying to make a ton of friends, but the West Virginia fans are always great. They're always so gracious. I remember loving West Virginia. This is not what you were going to ask me. I remember like loving and hating West Virginia a ton because I live in Tampa, Florida. So some of those old USF rivalries that would happen.
BJ Daniels, Matt
I hated them. Like there was so much respect. Like Pat White and Slayton and all those guys. They were so much fun to watch. So good. And it wasn't like there wasn't this hatred where like I would cheer against them. Like I would want West Virginia to be good the rest of the year. And man, I loved watching those games. And then when we weren't in the Big East together anymore, that sucked. So but I never had to cheer against them anymore. So I always have liked West Virginia. I had one of my English teacher was from there, went to all the games. He would go with me to the games in Tampa. And so, yeah, I want to see what West Virginia fans want to see. I want to see a turnaround under Rich Rod. Like they've always been a program that's been super fun to me. And I just like passion. I'm getting fired up talking about this right now.
Let's go, baby.
FSU shirt. But I like West Virginia. I like their passion. And I would love to see, it was cool when, Bobby's last game was against them. It would be cool to see them come back. So put me on the West Virginia hype train this year.
Hey, guys, this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by FanDuel, guys. And right now with FanDuel, if you didn't know, now you know. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now. All right, guys, thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team every single day. This is TJ Pittinger with College Football Addiction. Make sure you go check him out, guys. He does an excellent job covering the sport on the national scale. My X is still broken. I don't know what's going on with that, but we'll just deal with just YouTube for now. Guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, the whole thing, and let's jump into this. As right before I came on, so we were going to talk about TJ, the 4 West Virginia players, and how they impact West Virginia, and we are. Wren Baker has given an update on the Jimmori Robinson situation, which is the crowning jewel of this class, a kid that has, well, he's a grown man. He's 24. But, he's got obviously 10.5 sacks, 90 quarterback pressures. It's a crazy number last year at UTSA. Obviously would be an enormous pickup for the Mountaineers. And Wren Baker says that, he's not going to try to be a lawyer, but general counsel at West Virginia and compliance is offered to engage the Big 12 and they'll engage the NCAA to make sure they aren't putting the institution at risk on the legal case with the players. West Virginia hasn't sued anybody. Obviously, the players did, but they do support any citizen's right to pursue legal recourse. Once they have clarity on that, all means they'll move forward in a way that doesn't put the institution at risk. Nothing is more important than an institution's integrity. They'll start. That's an important line. They're starting the process of getting those guys out there that are eligible as fast as possible. Baker doesn't know if all 4 were practicing. So to update you, TJ, because we didn't talk about this earlier, basically when the judge made this thing here, whatever you want to call it, whenever he hit the gavel, he enjoined this with the NCAA's rule of restitution thing, where they can basically come back and if you play a player, you win a bunch of games, and this gets overturned later, the NCAA can say, and then it'll come back after you, right? Well, in this case, the judge said, no, I perceive that possibility, so we're going to go ahead and join the rule of restitution in this, and West Virginia is not liable no matter what happens, right? Yeah. I think that's a really important part of this, because obviously if the NCAA can't come after West Virginia has some leeway here, but then you consider the fact like Jimmori Robinson potentially has an eligibility issue, and Wren Baker's line about the integrity of the institution kind of makes this really muddy, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and you just want, leave it to the NCAA, right? To just not, for there to not be clarity around a situation. Like how long,
even after the judge ruling,
talking about, but like how long did the Michigan thing go on for? Or Rasul Faison down at South Carolina? Or, the one that actually did get resolved really quickly was Pavia. But like, just why is it, why is it just not a standard? And I know every situation is different, but like in this day and age that we're living in right now, right, with all the changes to college football and all the changes to eligibility and the way that, we're paying kids millions of dollars to play football. If this kid wants to play, like, let's just play, like, what are we doing here? And again, leave it to the NCAA. But it's good on West Virginia to do the due diligence. It's good on Jimmori to do the due diligence and try and do everything you can to make sure that all the, cliched season, because it's football, T's are crossed and I's are dotted. But man, can we just not get clarity on an answer? Can we just, and is that, why is the NCAA so bad about it? The answer to that question that I just kind of theoretically asked is because they're losing power with everything else that's going on. And so I don't know. It's like they try and lord over or rule over these other little things. And it's just like, dude, let's just get an answer. We kick off in 8 days. Let's go.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and just shift gears a little bit. So let's say because I do think all four of these guys are going to play. Mm-hmm. They didn't pay Jimmori Robinson what they paid him, which is a lot, to come to West Virginia, not to play the guy. And here's the other thing. Just speaking for the kid, the man, it's so hard to get to stop saying that word because these are grown men. But, this is a guy and the other players as well that basically were under the, they thought basically, hey, I'm going to go ahead and withdraw because you can appeal later, and I'm going to go ahead and not go to the draft, and we're going to go ahead and play this year because of the Pavia thing. So they were all kind of duped into, because I think a couple of these guys probably would have went the NFL draft way if they'd have known this was going to be so difficult, right? And so It's like kind of really not fair that they're even in this situation. So, but let's go ahead and say that they do play. What do four guys that you weren't really sure if you were going to have, but let's just go ahead and say that they probably, because we were mostly assuming they weren't going to get them. So what do four guys then I would say mostly are starter capable do for a team?
Yeah, I think, well, one, it's just the talent, right? Like that, that's the most obvious answer. So I'll spend just a second on that. But it is the talent. It's the 10.5 sacks. It's all the rushing yards. It's the secondary play. Like it's every position group that it's that, right? So, but that's obvious. So let's not spend a lot of time there. The culture is really important too. Like when I think about culture teams, right? There are some teams that I think about have great cultures, and there's some teams that have great players, and then there are some teams that have both, right? There's no doubt about that. West Virginia, to me, is one of the culture programs, especially with Rich Rod coming back, right? Trying to instill, and again, this goes back to my intro, talking about watching them grow up and the way that they played and the physicality, which was under Rich Rod, let's be honest. That's what it reminds me of. And so you're bringing guys that have played and been around college football and been in systems and understand how to be professionals. You're not talking about 17, 18-year-olds that are just coming out of high school that, their head spinning faster than the football is. You're talking about guys that bring a standard, right? And know how to go out and conduct themselves. What they are on the field is impressive. No doubt about it. But what they can be for that younger guy in the locker room, what they can be for the rest of the team as Rich Rod tries to turn this thing around and get it back to where West Virginia is supposed to be, to me, that is so much more valuable. And that's not to take away from any of their on the field stuff, because you need the help, right? Like you need the talent to win football games. But what it is from a bigger picture, a culture, a turnaround standpoint, to bring in true leaders, that is to me, that's bigger than even the talent.
Love that answer, man, for sure. At the end of the day, I think we're going to get at least two of the guys. It seems like Weimer's not even added to the roster yet. Jimmori Robinson seems like he's still up in the air. I would go out on a limb and say we at least get 3 of the 4 of these guys. It seemed like we were going to get 4 just yesterday. I don't know why Weimer's not added to the roster yet. I just found that out right before we hit play as well. So we'll just continue to monitor the situation. At the end of the day, man, I think it wasn't a no. And until it's a no, we can have hope, right? So let's go to break, guys. What we'll do is we'll go to break really quick. And then on the other side, I've got to get TJ's answer on this because we were talking about game day, the backyard brawl. It's just a couple weeks away. Let's look and see what's up against that. Is there anything, any major obstacles that can prevent that from happening? TJ's got your answer. We'll talk about it next on a Locked On West Virginia and College Football Addiction crossover. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by FanDuel, guys. We're talking about FanDuel on this one because we love FanDuel around here. And August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a launch shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now because Futures Day is one day and one day only. You can only do it at FanDuel where you can play your game. All right, and it is segment 2 where I am not going to crack a do today. I'm going to wait till segment 3 and crack a Dr. P. Appreciate you guys for joining in on this one as we talk college football, West Virginia, everything. The backyard brawl, one of the best rivalries in college football, probably, unfortunately, because of there's a bunch of reasons. We can go realignment, we can go the state of both programs, not as hotly contested as it was even 20 years ago, TJ, but it's still, there is a lot of vibes around this one. You've got Pat Narduzzi's telling the fans not to travel to Morgantown because it's dangerous. They wore full pads and helmets. It's so dramatic getting off the bus the last time they came to Morgantown, all the way to Rich Rodriguez, saying that the word, there's only one bad 4-letter word, and that's Pitt. To Pat McAfee, obviously, talking about how he got death threats at his last games as a Mountaineer when he missed 2 kicks that would have sent West Virginia to the national championship game in the 13-9 loss. The first Power 4 team Rich Rod happens to play on 9-13, which is just crazy. You lose 13-9, and then the first game is on 9-13. Is Pitt. And they have a pretty good football team. You cover a lot of the ACC, and a lot about the ACC. Before we jump into the games, what do you have a good idea what kind of team Pitt's going to field this year?
I think Pitt is the second toughest team to project in the ACC. The first toughest being Florida State, because Florida State went 13-0 one year and 2-10 the next year. So what the heck are they going to do? Well, Pitt's like a microcosm of that. They started out a 7-game win streak and finished up on a 6-game losing streak. Yeah. I tried to search like college football stuff, and it's hard because am I going to search 136 teams? I could not find another team that did that. Started out 7-0.
It's impossible.
And finished 7-6. Like they might be one of the very first, certainly like in my lifetime, like I'm not going back to the 70s to look this stuff up, but there might be one of the first teams. So I think they're incredibly tough to project. What I do know about a Pitt team under Narduzzi, they will fight incredibly hard. There will be no quit. They are very tough-nosed. Again, I'm not trying to say nice things about Pitt on a West Virginia channel. They will fight hard, right? Like they will be a tough, competitive team. It's early in the year, so that would make me think that they're probably, they got beaten down. There were some injuries. I'm not saying they quit or anything. That.
Whole team was hurt.
So they should be relatively healthy. It's not like they have a massive week 1 or 2 game. Pitt and West Virginia it would be a shock if that's not a 2-0 versus 2-0 game going into it. But yeah, I think that they'll be at least early in the year. I think they'll be pretty good. I don't think they're an elite team. Like I don't have them going 9-3 or anything like that, but I think they'll make a bowl. Like I think they'll win 6, 7, 8 games somewhere in that range. Their ACC schedule is not terrible. They do have to go down to Tallahassee. But I do think that Pitt will have maybe a slightly better year than last year, but I don't see them going on a 6-game losing streak, which maybe, good news for Pitt fans there.
Yeah, absolutely. On paper, like I've said all along, on paper, they're probably a little better than West Virginia for sure this year, at least on paper. But I've deep dived the hell out of this West Virginia team, and I really do like a lot of the pieces. Rich Rod took 60 pieces last year at Jack State and won the league. 60 new players. But that's Conference USA, obviously. But I do think that's good football. Is it Big 12 football? No, probably not. Obviously not. Can you do it in the Big 12 where you just don't get an off week in the Big? I think that's the hardest thing with the Big 12 is even the ACC has a couple teams that you can say, okay, they're going to be really bad. West Virginia or the Big 12 has one or two, like Cincinnati, maybe. It's just hard, but you never know. UCF, Cincinnati could both be 8-win teams. Either way, if both teams go 2-0, I do think West Virginia has a tricky week 2 game at Ohio, which has won 3 straight double-digit winning seasons, but they changed their coach, and so a bunch of new players there. I think we're going to be all right. It's on the road, which is really strange, but at the end of the day, I think we both end up 2-0. What are some obstacles and roadblocks you see on the schedule that match up against West Virginia Pitt week 3?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one is that ESPN has a vested interest in the SEC. So
that's a true thing.
Yeah, them not going to an SEC matchup that weekend is, I mean, it's got to be a concern. Now, you tell Pitt fans, hey, you'll go 8-4, or you can have game day. Yeah, you want to win more games, right? Like than less. I'm on the same train, by the way. That's why I reached over and grabbed just a second ago. I know they don't sponsor, so I'm not going to say it, but like, I'm a big fan as well. So yeah, I mean, so there's some matchups there that could have some pretty big implications. Florida LSU is a big one. I've been to Baton Rouge, ton of fun. That if LSU beats Clemson week 1, yeah, that's going to be a really hyped matchup. That'll be potentially a top 10 matchup because Florida plays, USF here, Tampa team and Long Island University. So that could be a 2-0 matchup. And if it's a top 10 matchup in the SEC, that certainly could be somewhere they go. So I think, Pitt fans and West Virginia fans need to cheer for Clemson to beat LSU week 1. I don't know if that'll take convincing on the Pitt part or not, but Texas A&M plays Notre Dame that weekend. Again, if A&M and Notre Dame are both 2-0 going into that matchup, actually, I think Notre Dame has a bye week between their Miami game and their Notre Dame game. But again, would you maybe want Notre Dame or A&M to drop a game before that so that they're not going there? UGA plays Tennessee. That's another big one. If Tennessee beats Syracuse week 1, UGA should start out 2-0. They play a couple of nobodies as well. So you've got some big matchups, and Joey Aguilar maybe not the most exciting, but who knows, man. So I think it's going to be one of those 4. Clemson plays in Atlanta against Georgia Tech. Again, I don't know that I think the Backyard Brawl would probably beat that out, even if Clemson and Georgia Tech were both 2-0. But those 3 LSU matchups, Florida LSU, 3 SEC matchups, Florida LSU, Texas A&M, Notre Dame, and then UGA Tennessee would be the ones that I'd say, like, man, if you could start cheering against those teams early so they pick up a loss, it might kind of lock it in for you. But who knows, man? Like we were talking about this off air. I would like to see them do more stuff like this. Like people either love or hate Josh Pate. I love that Josh Pate went to the Big 12.
Josh Pate.
Yeah, I love that he went to the Big 12 championship.
And he did it like we do it.
Yeah, and that ended up being the worst game of all of them. But he goes and visits other stuff, right? It's not just the SEC every single week, right? Or it's not just the Big 10 every week. I like that.
Tennessee, for God's sake. You're going to have a certain bias.
That's how
I look at it.
Go see the country, man. Go see different places. Don't alienate all of the rest of the country because you want to cater to the Southeast. I live in the Southeast. I get it. But I do think that's, I would like to see them go to the Brawl for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And how much stock do you put in? So I know you haven't seen this, but I'll explain it. Basically, how Pat has Herb Street and those guys on sometimes.
Yeah.
They were talking about that week 3 matchup, and Herb Street said, man, can we go to that? And they were like, well, we're trying to make it happen. And they brought it up on kind of, then Thamel came on a week later, and he said, we're going to try to make it to that. Like they're openly campaigning for it. I think for a lot of reasons. Obviously, if you look at storylines wise, you've got Pat McAfee who missed 2 kicks in that game. And then the West Virginia lost to Pitt that would have went to the national championship game. The death threats, the whole thing. You got Rich Rod that's been gone for 17 years coming back in his first game against Pitt. So the storylines are there. You've got Desmond Howard, who knows him well from the Michigan days. Obviously, you got Nick Saban, who is a West Virginia native that's going to probably push for that. So I do think that it has a lot of things in its favor that maybe you can say the other games don't have just because there's so much history and storyline involved. But at the end of the day, like you said, it's almost like, You know what you know, and at the end of the day, the SEC and ESPN are definitely in bed with each other. Even though they do have a secondary interest in the Big 12, it's definitely not as big as the SEC. So I agree with you. So we need Clemson and we need Miami to win games. Is that what you're telling me?
It hurts my heart as a Florida State fan.
Are you sure? Because your last name is Pittinger.
I like I mean, I do want Clemson to win. I like Cade Klubnik a lot, and I'm not a Clemson fan by any means, but I do think they do win.
He can play, bro.
Miami, I don't know. I think that game will be a toss-up. But I did a video this morning, and I picked Miami in that one, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, I think that – but, yeah, like you said, like all these guys campaigning for it, I mean, hopefully they make the right decision on this, right? Like, again, it would just be a good storyline. That's the other thing, too. People don't tune into game day or not tune into game day based on where it is, right? No. Now, West Virginia fans might boycott that week if they don't pick it, or Pitt fans might boycott that week. But, like, people tune into game day no matter where it is, right? They go to Dublin, they tune in. They go to Tuscaloosa, they tune in. They go to Arizona State, they tune in. So
North Dakota State.
Right. Yeah. The people are tuned into game day no matter what. And I mean, so it doesn't really matter where they go. They're still going to get the same ratings.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Show some love to some other stuff. Like do things that actually matter. So we'll see. My confidence level in ESPN is low though. Even with all the guys campaigning, like I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy.
No, you're right.
Guys campaigning. It's like, I think they have say. I think they have influence. I don't think they're the decision makers at ESPN, right? Like the suits that are ruining this sport, which are not Herb Street and Pat and all those. Like I'm not talking about them. Right. The guy, the ones that make the decision. Yeah. Those are the guys I don't have confidence in. I got confidence in Kirk and Pat and Nick and all these guys to do the right thing. I don't have confidence in their bosses.
Before we go to break here, how much sway do you think Pat McAfee has if he really wants to put his foot down on something?
I don't know. Did you see that story that came out this week that like they were going to cut some of the, or maybe it wasn't this week, but I saw it on Instagram. Like they were going to cut some of the funding to some of the production team and stuff like that. And Pat just said like, oh, I'll pay for that. I'll just pay. We're not going to cut the funding for our production team.
Wow. No, I didn't see that.
Yeah. I think Kirk was telling it on another podcast.
I know he's went head to head with Stephen A and everybody. Like he doesn't care. He takes on everybody.
He's like, I'll pay for it. I'll pay the fund. I'll pay for what it is. And when upper management heard that, upper management said, oh, okay, well, if Pat, we're not going to make Pat pay for it. Like if Pat was going to pay for it, we'll just do whatever they were going to cut. He didn't say exactly what.
Yeah. I did not see that, but that might be an episode I'd be interested in doing.
I think he's got decent pull. I mean, if everybody on the panel says they want to do this, like these are the biggest names. And I don't think you want to go against them, right? Even if you want to go to whatever, Notre Dame or LSU or whatever. Like, I think that if these guys are all publicly saying it, I think there's a pretty good chance.
Right. Yeah, I feel the same, man. You did a good thing. You sided with the Mountaineers on that one, brother. Real quick before we go to break, don't Luke Altmaier and Cade Klubnik kind of remind you of each other? I can't get it out of my head now.
With their mobility, their stature, and their size and stuff, they
look like the same quarterback in different uniforms.
Their throwing motion's kind of similar too. Yeah. They both go very much over the top.
Very similar quarterbacks.
Yeah, I like Luke. I mean, Luke was committed to FSU for quite a while, and then obviously ended up flipping away, and they took somebody else. But I like Altmaier a ton. I think he's great.
We'll go to break, guys. We'll do more random stuff after that. We'll be right back. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by Rougiette, y'all. And look, when it comes to Rougiette, it's like the backyard brawl for me, guys. You've heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to get Rougiette Ready. That's what the Brawl has me. It has me Rougiette Ready. Rougiette Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rougiette is 3-in-1 formula, dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and control when the moment is right. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing review. Please visit the Rougiette website for full safety information. It's segment 3, and I've got a Dr. P. What about you, brother?
Yeah, like I said, man, I'm terrible at this. You used to make fun of my wife for it, but I've got like 3 drinks here. I've got a coffee, water, a Diet Dr. Pepper, and I just finished a coffee. So yeah, like I keep it all. I'm loaded. The only thing I don't have is a beer. So, but it is also 1 p.m. on a Friday.
Yeah. Thankfully with you, I don't have to manage the time difference because like everybody else that I work with,
the Big 12 all out there.
It's like, oh my God, dude, it's like 9 a.m. where they are when it's like 12 p.m. where I'm at. And like, oh my God, it's hard to schedule. But so we really didn't discuss a third topic. So I think what I'll do is I'll just hit you with what are your overall thoughts on the West Virginia team this season? Obviously, quarterback battle going on. But do you think this is Rich Rod is one of those dudes where I don't think it would shock anybody if West Virginia won 8 games. I don't think it would shock everybody if we won 3, right? I mean, there is both possibilities can happen. Do you think the fact that Rich Rodriguez won a conference championship with 60 new players last year, do you think that gives you any confidence that he could do it with a West Virginia team in a much more difficult league?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't. No, yes, it does give you more confidence because I think he understands like how to build. You can have 80 new players, right? And now that would be more difficult. But at the end of the day, it's about the buy-in of teams, right? And it's about the way that you instill culture and how much guys are bought in. And there is, just like there is within a fan base and in a media outlet or anything else like that, there is a certain amount of like extra juice that you get from a new coach coming in. What is tough is that if things don't start going your way, like you mentioned the Pitt game, you mentioned then they got to play Kansas, then they got to play Utah, then they got to play BYU. Those are going to be 4 tough games. And if you're 2-4 after those games, does that buy-in start to wane a little bit? Does the belief start to wane? You don't have a team that's been together for 3 or 4 years. No fault of Rich Rod's himself. He just got here. But do guys start making business decisions? Do they start looking toward the NFL? But conversely, if you beat Pitt and you start out 3-0, say you just win one of those 3 Big 12 games. You go into the bye week, you get very winnable games against UCF, TCU, and Houston before finishing up with 2 of the favorites to win the whole thing. But I think that it is, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? Like it can be really good. It can be really bad. It could be in like most situations, it can be somewhere in the middle. I like Nico a lot. He was, again, a guy that was committed to FSU for quite a while. Florida State wanted to bring in 2 quarterbacks, and neither quarterback wanted to be kind of part of a 2 quarterback system. So they actually don't have either one of those on the roster anymore, but was committed to FSU for a long time. I think I expect that he'll probably win it out. We'll see what happens. I mean, you guys would know that way better than I do, but I like him a lot. I like some of the pieces they brought in. I think it's all about getting off to a good start. If they can start out 3-0 or 4-1, something like that, I think it makes the rest of the schedule much more attainable. Getting Colorado at home is a big deal. You go to UCF, but that's not like an crazy place to have to go play. Talking about another coach coming home. So
when they're good, I guess I've heard it can be. Yeah, I don't know. Is the bounce house a tough place to play when they're good or no?
When I think about,
I mean, obviously that's not Florida State. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm.
That's what your bar is. It's not fair to. Your bar is way too high for most people.
Well, yeah, but I even think they're a step below, and this is not a UCF shot, so somebody will get
not like in Morgantown or anything.
Yeah, they're not a Utah, they're not a BYU, right. they're not even a Folsom Field, right? In Boulder, right? So like that's kind of what I would compare it to. Like yes, they've been in the Power 4. What now? This is their 3rd year, but there still are, to me, kind of a fringe Power 4 team, right? Like kind of like Cincinnati. It's not quite the same as. Going and playing at some of these other places that you have to go play in the Big 12 or the ACC. So that's not a shot at UCF, but they're just new at it. Like it's just been a couple of years. That place does
and
get
they're in a
rocking.
Coaching chain.
Yeah, that place does get rocking. Like they rock it out. It's a fun stadium, but it is small. It's not huge.
Have you been to it?
I've been by it. I've never been to a game there. I was actually there 2 weeks ago for, ironically, a softball game with my daughter. And we were looking at the football stadium while we were there. But
I've heard it's a little bigger than most people would think.
Yeah, but again, my standard's probably a little
right. I think it's probably like 50,000 or something.
Yeah. So it's not like massive. And if they're not winning, that's the problem. Like their fan base is a newer fan base.
Right.
So at that point in the year, halfway through the year,
kind of a transient fan base too. I've heard,
a lot of commuters,
there's a lot of people that like them that aren't even from there,
for sure.
Because it's like, oh, there's this new team that popped up. I like them.
Yeah. A lot of the students do a really good job. Their student section is great. Yeah. But I mean, if you're not winning, are people coming? Right. Like, and by game 6 or 7, where are they in their year, right? They've got a tough schedule this year. So, yeah, I think that one, I'd rather play it. I mean, I'd rather play at UCF than play in Utah, right? I'd rather play UCF than go play in Colorado or, I mean, I know they go to Provo, but BYU or some of these other places.
And here's another thing to consider. West Virginia's first game against Kansas just happens to be their opening, the stadium opening.
Yeah.
I heard that stadium is going to be awesome.
Well, it doesn't first Big 12 game there, right? But don't they play at home? They play Fresno State there too. Don't they?
Do they? Okay, good. I hadn't looked at it. I guess I just read. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is the first Big 12 game.
First Big 12 game coming off a bye week. And I love Jalen Daniels. I think he's great, and he scares the crap out of me if I'm a West Virginia fan or a fan of any team.
Listen, but he's really good. But they don't have Kolnick anymore, so I'm way less scared of him than I was.
And he regressed a little bit last year. It's kind of like he kind of pulled a.
He always gets hurt. That's his biggest issue.
Yeah,
it's the only issue he has.
But
if he's had some Heisman moments, which is tough. This has been fun, man. Obviously this West Virginia team is going to be really interesting to watch. You mentioned Deco. I do think he walks out there first. There's a cut up on YouTube of every big time throw he's ever made at West Virginia. It's by an anonymous account. And I reached out to the people that gave me permission to look at it and stuff. So like I looked at it on the show the other day with some people, but I think even though it's just highlights, so you can't judge it 100% fully. I'm a hobbyist. I love watching tape. He has an elite arm. I really was. I think, when you look at it in a vacuum in the course of the season in the Neil Brown offense, it's really slow paced. It's like you forget, and you forget that he was kind of hampered by the style that Neil Brown called, which was slants, bubbles, right? And every now and again he gets to uncork one. Well, if you look over the course of a couple of years, he's uncorked a few, and you get a better vantage point of what his arm talent is. He's got arm talent. I was of the mindset that he was more of a game manager. I'm coming into this, and now that I've studied a little more tape on him, just because like I said, he was always held back by Neil and never really got to see that. And if you get a chance to ever look at that video, it's on there. Just type in Nico Markiel. He's actually got a better arm than I thought. So it's going to be interesting to see what he looks like this year, man. We know he can run. He touches 4.5, 4.6 on the gun. We know he can do that. He's a strong kid. He reminds me of Tebow in a lot of ways. So we'll see what he does, man. Unfortunately for you guys, Tebow was considering Florida State as well at one point in time, wasn't he?
Still have nightmares about that 4-year stretch where they just beat our dog in every year.
Appreciate you for coming on, TJ. Guys, make sure you guys check out TJ Pittinger at College Football Addiction. He also hosts another Florida State show. What's that called?
It's called Double Fries, No Slaw.
That's an awesome name for a show, dude.
We're big.
Oh, my God.
You guys got I don't know how close it is to Morgantown, but you guys got a Guthrie's up there in West Virginia now. Or maybe it's in.
Is that your order at Guthrie's?
Oh, every time. That's the only way you can get it.
Double Fries, No Slaw?
Oh, it's in Huntington.
Is it really?
Yeah,
that's right by my house.
Yeah, you got to go get it. It's great.
I'm like 10 minutes from there, dude.
But yeah, that's how you got it. I mean, nobody wants coleslaw. The reason they do that in Tallahassee is because when Guthrie's open till like 4 or 5 a.m. in Tallahassee, and when you've been out partying all night, like nobody, like coleslaw ain't doing the job.
Double fries, no claw. No slaw soaks it right up, don't it?
You need the fries to help soak up the evening's adventures.
God. Look, man, I had some wild times, brother. I'll tell you. Everybody on this show knows that I'm in recovery now. I went too far, but but I still reminisce from time to time. And double fries, no slaw would have definitely been.
Still get the fries, man. That's still the way to do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Nobody wants coleslaw.
I need to be in recovery for the food addiction.
Maybe. Yeah, that's great.
Oh man, had a fun time, bro. This was pretty good. This was our first show together. Although I've watched you for years. So I just got to tell you, man, I know I said it in the open, you really do an amazing job. It's hard to, I know from experience, it's hard to cover more than one team accurately.
Yeah.
And you do a good job of staying on top of what everybody's doing. I don't know how you do it. I don't know if you have a team or what, but you do deserve your flowers on that, brother.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. It's a lot of fun. I've been blessed to be able to do this, and my wife probably hates how much I do it, but I enjoy it. So I'm ready for tomorrow. I'm ready for next week and getting football underway.
All right, brother. We'll have you on again, man.
Yeah, anytime. Let me know.
Guys, like I said, make sure you check out College Football Addiction channel. Double Price and Those Slaws. You'll never forget the name of that show. Make sure you check that out too. I don't know what's going on with X, so I do apologize for. Usually, there's at least 400 or 500 of you guys that are watching over there. I apologize, but for those of you that are watching, I appreciate you here, and we will get this fixed here in the next couple of days. Guys, make sure you like the video, subscribe. We'll get to you on the next one. I'll be going live again here in the next hour or two. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll be doing 3 or 4 videos today, and I'll see you guys later. This episode's over, and for TJ, I'm out.